com/election.
The Oregon Education Department urging school districts to consider implementing cell phone bans or restrictions.
Lake Oswego, which is near Portland, is one of the districts highlighted in a 28-page report by the Oregon Department of Education. And the high school principal there said that their school board voted unanimously to adopt a cell phone ban this year. He said that a no phones policy has improved student social skills and learning.
ABC's Rebecca Jarvis on that proposal. Threats of violence have prompted school evacuations this month in California, Kansas, Michigan, and Wisconsin.
An anonymous threat reporting system operated by a nonprofit school violence prevention group saw the number of average daily calls triple during 2 weeks in September.
It's not funny. It's not a joke. It has real consequences.
District Attorney Shanna Redwine of Montgomery County, Texas, urges parents and students to come forward if they hear about threats to a school.
Tell somebody, because unfortunately what we can't know is what is in somebody's head and what's in their heart.
Jim Ryan, ABC News.
For the fifth straight week, the average rate on a 30-year mortgage has risen, according to Freddie Mac. The rate is now over 6.7%, up from 6.5%. It's still down from last year's 7.7%. Bridges in popular national parks like Yellowstone are among dozens getting federally funded upgrades. Federal highway officials announcing millions of dollars to repair or replace outdated bridges. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
You can live out your MasterChef dreams when you find a professional on Angie to tackle your dream kitchen remodel. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
I'm Bill Walter, KBNU News. News is brought to you by Roof Rescue. A reward has been offered for anyone who finds the missing canine out of the Davis County Sheriff's Office. Officials with the office posted on Facebook that canine Cash had been missing for 9 days as of Wednesday, and offered a $1,000 reward for anyone who could safely return the dog. It was announced Monday that the active search for canine Cash had been called off due to the search using resources the office needs to serve the community. Officials posted that they believe that Cash was picked up by someone who does not know he is a missing police canine. They will continue to investigate leads and have announced a $1,000 incentive for his safe return. And the sheriff's office provided key details of Cash's disappearance and the search. He was last seen October 21st when taken outside and unleashed for a bathroom break. He was donated to the sheriff's office in September and is meant to attend training in January to become the first Davis County Corrections canine. Cash is 1 year old and a German short-haired pointer, unneutered, and has a docked tail. Officers with the American Fork Police Department have now arrested 2 more people in connection to the murder of 42-year-old Matthew Ristelli in July of this year. Detectives have arrested 36-year-old Catherine Ristelli and 59-year-old Tracy Grist for conspiracy to commit murder. 33-year-old Kevin Ellis was already in custody for murder, possession of a dangerous weapon by a restricted person, and possession of a controlled substance. According to police, on July 12th at 10:10 p.m., they were called to a home in American Fork for a report of a man who had been shot. When they arrived, they found Matthew Ristelli dead from multiple gunshot wounds. 3 other adults and 2 children were in the home at the time. Catherine Ristelli, Matthew's wife, Kevin Ellis, brother of Catherine, and Tracy Grist, Catherine's mother. The 2 children were Matthew and Catherine's, and they were not harmed. They have now been placed in the custody of the Division of Child and Family Services. The American Fork Police Department says what followed their arrival was an intensive, time-consuming, and meticulous investigation that led detectives to believe that Catherine Ristelli and Tracy Grist worked in concert with Kevin Ellis to lure Matthew Ristelli from California so that Ellis could kill Matthew. And Election Day is less than a week away, and a town hall meeting on Wednesday aimed at helping people with last-minute questions on how they can cast their ballots in Idaho. AARP Idaho hosted the meeting online and over the phone with Idaho's Secretary of State, Phil McGrain, where they could get information on voting. Randy Simon with AARP Idaho says this was a good opportunity for people to ensure they are prepared to vote.
It's important for all Idahoans who are going to vote to have this correct information and to find out where you can cast your ballot, what documents you need in order to cast your ballot, what are the issues on the ballot.
2 statewide measures will appear on the ballot: a constitutional amendment to keep people who are not citizens from voting, and a citizen proposition that would create a top 4 primary and ranked choice voting system in elections. KBNU weather brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. Days are getting shorter, temperatures colder. Be prepared with a stop at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores. They can test your battery before it leaves you stranded in the cold. Locally owned from Preston to Providence. Mostly cloudy, rain likely this evening, then partly cloudy after midnight, overnight low in the mid-20s, and then partly sunny on Friday, high around 50. And then by Saturday, another chance of rain by afternoon. Get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
Roof Rescue is your local roofing specialist, dedicated to keeping your home safe and dry no matter the weather. Their team of experienced roofers is here to serve you, providing top-quality service at affordable prices. From minor repairs to complete roof replacements, they've got you covered. Remember, your roof is your first line of defense in protecting your family from the elements. So don't wait until the next storm to discover your roof problems. Call Roof Rescue today at 435-999-4268. They're your trusted local roofing experts, here to keep your home safe and dry. Roof Rescue, celebrating 10 years of providing watertight peace of mind.
Reporting the news that matters to you. News Talk KVNU, 610 AM, 102.1 FM, your number one radio station for news and talk.
I'm Patrick Belmont, and I want to represent you in the Utah legislature. I think it's time to fix our housing problem, invest in our kids' futures, and make sure our economy works for everyone, not just the wealthy few. I want to pull Cache Valley together into a community where everyone can find their place and can achieve a good quality of life.
Make your vote matter. Make your voice heard. Please register to vote today at vote.utah.gov.
I'm Patrick Belmont, and I approve this message. Paid for by Belmont for Utah.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Friday on This Morning, America's First News. With tens of millions of Americans having already cast a ballot this election season, are there any trends emerging about which candidate has an edge? Also, tech leaders may not be endorsing Donald Trump for president, but they are reaching out to mend fences. Hear who's doing it. And unbelievable news from campus: the cost of college is going down. Friday on This Morning, America's First News. From 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM. Your station for news and talk.
KVNU's For the People with Jason Williams and Bill Walter.
And it is Utah known as the fraud capital of the world. Not because we have more people committing fraud, but because we have so many people falling for it.
Going beneath the headlines and connecting you to the newsmakers.
The radio is a great way to get the word out to a lot of people in an emergency. So we thank you for your help and being a partner with us.
For the People on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM, 102.1 FM. Online at 610kvnu.com and on the KVNU mobile app.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. October 31st, Halloween. I'm Jason Williams. Charlie Schill here in the studio with me for this week's episode of the For the People Theater Hour, kicking things off here on the show today. And it is kind of a bye week, if you will. We had I don't know if it was a complaint, but we had a listener say, hey, if you talk to the Pickleville folks, tell them to do that fall show longer. That's all the message said. They did the Play That Goes Wrong again for their Halloween show.
I think they had. It
was a longish run.
I think they have done that. But I think in previous years when they were doing Addams Family, they ran it all the way closer to Halloween.
That's right, they did.
They cut it off. They cut off the Play That Goes Wrong on the 19th.
Yeah, it was. So I guess it was. I don't remember when Addams Family would start. But I feel like they always did a 4-weekend run in the fall, and that was the end of it.
No. That ran longer.
Ran longer than 4?
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. Fair complaint.
We'll
talk to him. we'll reach out to the Davis family.
I think part of the problem is that they had to release the cast that they've got for the play that goes wrong, so they could start working on the Juanito Bandito show that they've got for Christmas, because that is going to be performed here on the 23rd of November.
Oh, that's right. That starts before Thanksgiving.
They're doing a preview here.
I forgot about the preview.
Well, almost like a dress rehearsal, really. And then they're going down south, and then they come back and get us just before Christmas.
That's right. I forgot we got 2 different runs of that. And then are they going to Idaho Falls with that one again?
Yeah.
Like they did last year? Okay. Yeah. And then, and they'll be, when they come back for the, so you have the earlier one before Thanksgiving, then you have the one mid-December. They'll be surrounded by other stuff.
Will they ever?
Going on. I noticed that on the calendar.
They put them in there with a shoehorn, I think.
Yeah. It is a busy month for, after Thanksgiving for Christmas shows.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit going on, to say the least. We had, you and I were talking before the show, we had, fun with guests the last couple of weeks, Michael Ballum, and last week, Wendy Hassan.
I feel kind of lonely, just us here.
It's all of a sudden it's quiet, and it's, but I was thinking we did, we fell behind a little bit, and then you reminded me, no, this is the breather weekend. Nothing opening. You do have, we're just a bit away from USU and their second show, right?
Yeah, Between the Lines.
That's right, Between the Lines.
If there's any possibility of getting out and seeing the Toxic Avenger tonight,
I saw some photos.
Oh, go! It
really?
Is so good.
I saw a photo of the costume,
the muscle suit. Yes.
Yeah, so funny.
We've settled into this mindset that universities are bastions of wokeness and political correctness.
Yeah.
Every now and then, there's this glimmer of light that comes from a university that says, hey, we still have a sense of humor, but don't tell anybody.
Yeah, this is...
It's about 10 minutes into that show, and it's good, right from the word go, they're singing and dancing and blah, blah, blah.
And it's USU Opera. That's just funny.
Tremendous voices. And about 10 minutes into that, they throw Sam Tischer into a vat of toxic waste. And he emerges and literally tears 2 people apart on stage. And it sounds horrific. You shouldn't laugh hysterically when it happens.
You feel guilty laughing.
But you do. And the rest of the show never takes a breath from then on. It is wonderful. And this is your last chance.
Tonight, right?
This
is the only. This is such a unique story, and it's a love story. Believe it or not.
Yeah, I guess. Come here. Go away.
It's honestly
as most love stories are.
Yeah, it's and there's a warning on this one. There's a content advisory. The play includes, now remember, this is a comedy done by USU Opera students. Beautiful voices, but the content advisory says violence, adult language, sexual innuendo, blood and gore, mature themes and political incorrectness.
And they
not
ain't
suitable for 15
they aren't
under.
kidding a bit. It's all there.
That is, and the person who wrote this, it said once, that's why it was written, to kind of take some of these themes from, to take this, the absurdity of the Toxic Avenger movie from the 80s, and then take it and put it into a real story with, something people can relate to, but keep it absurd a little bit. And it's just funny. I haven't seen this production, but when I saw it before, I thought it was just going to be weird. And it was a little bit. But it is really funny. You can't not like it.
There's really, Tischer is good. I mean, he's hilarious. He sings beautifully. Emma Dunster plays the mayor of the town that they live in, and she's the evil, unscrupulous politician who is selling all the people of the town down the river so she can make a killing. She also plays Tischer's mother. And
that's interesting.
In the second act, there is this hilarious kind of a duet, but it's actually just her singing it, called Bitch, Slut, Liar, Whore.
Yeah.
And
it's a love song.
No, it isn't. It's I hate you, but these two women, and it's in one door, out the other, slams by him. Now I'm the mayor. Now I'm the mother. Now I'm the mayor. Now I'm the mother. Now I'm the mayor. Now I'm the mother.
That's interesting. The same actress or same actor.
Yeah.
That would be hard.
No kidding.
To flop back and forth that quick.
I mean, she's simultaneously playing both roles.
In one scene.
Yes.
It's very cool.
It's hilarious. It's all, and they play with, they really get the gag going for a while.
That is funny.
It's the show is just great fun.
And the music on this one, people are talking about that.
Is really good. Of course, if you take opera students and you let them slum doing a musical,
they have fun.
they're just gonna blow the doors off the place with their voices.
Yeah,
and they're all great. They really are.
And Tischer has an amazing voice. He was. What was the last thing he was in?
He was in Anastasia. He was in come on. He was in something the Four Seasons did recently.
That's the one I'm thinking of, and I can't remember what it was.
Yeah,
but it's just he's really good.
He was really good, but I'm glad he didn't get tucked away in some other production and let this thing go, because he's good. He's just great.
That is, for those curious about the plot, if you want to go see this tonight, it's 7:30 to 9:30, the last show of USU Opera Theater production, The Toxic Avenger. Again, with a content advisory warning, not suitable for ages 15 and under, with the plot being, I wanted an excuse to read this. Sam Tischer plays Melvin Ferd III, Ferd F-E-R-D, Melvin Ferd III, who is a nerd that, due to a toxic sludge incident, turns into a mutant superhero. But in this play, he's out to win the girl of his dreams, a blind librarian, and stop his home state of New Jersey from turning into more of a toxic wasteland.
A blind librarian.
Okay. It's just, everything about this is so absurd, but then you see it and the story sucks you in, and it's really worth your time. Tickets are still available, and I've linked to that on our Facebook page. Simply do a quick Google search is the easiest way to find the ticket page for USU Opera Toxic Avenger. But I've linked directly to the King College of the Arts ticket page there. One more show of this tonight at 7:30, and we'll be back with more of KVNU's For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill right after this.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
That is the sound of one of those big trees over your driveway this winter when we get a big snowstorm. And that is the sound of that branch coming down on your truck parked in the driveway. But that can be the sound of the guys at Hull Tree Care, working to prevent such tragedy from happening. Call Hull Tree Care now to get your trees and shrubs trimmed before winter. And right now, Hull Tree Care is offering 10% off any service. Call 760-6587. That's 760-6587.
Are you tired of sifting through all the Medicare confusion from your mailbox, TV, and endless phone calls from telemarketers? Let Jessup Insurance and Retirement Services simplify it for you.
I can't believe the peace of mind they've given me. They help me clearly understand Medicare and explain all my insurance options.
The experts at Jessup Insurance know Medicare inside and out. I've never felt more secure in my Medicare decisions. They found the perfect plan for me and made sure I had all the benefits that were available to me.
At Jessup Insurance, they're not just insurance experts. They're your local guides through the Medicare maze.
It's like having a trusted friend you can rely on.
Jessup Insurance and Retirement Services, making sure you have all the benefits available to you. Call them today at 435-213-3200 or Google Jessup Insurance and say goodbye to all the Medicare confusion.
Jessup Insurance and Retirement Services, let us guide you.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill here in the studio. Reminder, one more show tonight of USU Opera's production of Toxic Avenger. Very funny, very good story, and content advisory not suitable for ages 15 and under due to some of the thematic elements. But it is a comedy. It has a great story. And it's so absurd. I don't know. You'll enjoy yourself, especially if you're looking for something to entertain yourself with on Halloween.
If, however, you are, you sincerely woke and,
might be a little offended.
you might want to just park your offenses at the door. And
yeah, this was written to push buttons. And I kind of like stuff like that. It's the reason I like seeing stand-up comedians. Because, when you sit down to see a stand-up comedian, you have to turn all of that sensitivity off.
As long as you don't talk about Puerto Rico being a floating garbage dump.
Yeah, that was, that poor guy, I was thinking about that. If he'd said that at a comedy club, I don't think anyone would have cared.
Well, what he said was
when you're opening for a presidential campaign.
There's this big island of garbage in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Yeah, that was his joke.
And you can hear the whole audience go,
because they're all thinking, oh, this is going to be all over the internet tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But again, he probably could have cracked that joke at Wise Guys in Salt Lake. It never would have made a single headline.
Well,
just politics.
Nobody in Salt Lake knows where Puerto Rico is.
Yeah, that's true. I saw a poll recently on people who understood how Puerto Rico, our relationship to Puerto Rico, and they were asked, is it a state, is it a colony, and no one got it right. Blew me away. Anyway. Back to a little social studies here on the For the People Theater Hour. Charlie and I got derailed, but what's next? There was another review you had up at CashValleyDaily.com that we didn't get to talk about.
This one was the event last Friday night. Uptown, the music of Motown.
Ah, that's right.
Just a sensational show.
That was good music.
You look out, and there is this sea of gray heads in the audience, okay? Everybody who remembers the 1970s turned out to see that show.
Yeah.
And there was a sprinkling of, a few young people who I'm not sure they knew what they were going to see. But it was a good show. It was 3 vocalists and a 5-man band backing them up. And they sang just about everything that came, that 100 hits that came out of Berry Gordy's Motown label between the 1960s and the 1970s.
Yeah, the big one.
And they were sensational. None of them were old enough to remember the 1970s, really, which was a good thing, because between the way they sang flat out, and the choreography, they'd have killed anybody old enough to remember the 1970s. and they were working hard.
I heard that it was. I was hoping to see this one, and because of a conflict, I couldn't. And this is just a style of music that I've always enjoyed. And then when Wendy told us that they also dance, and that was part of the. If you go back and watch those clips from different shows,
you look at the core. Yeah, from.
What was the big one in the 70s that everyone wanted to be on, especially if
Soul Train.
Soul Train, that's the one. You go back and look at that clips, and it's carefully choreographed while they're singing. Now, of course, Soul Train, they were singing to a tape, but but that was what how this music was performed.
Absolutely, and
live.
And it started with people like the Temptations and the OJs and the Spinners, and every move was choreographed. And that's the way this show is. But they also took time to get out and work the audience.
Well, that's nice.
They brought a woman on stage, and then sang a fairly raunchy version of Prince's tune "Kiss."
Oh.
To her, and she handled it with nice grace.
I've always thought that would be so awkward to be brought up on the stage and then wooed by the performers.
They worked the first couple rows of the audience really hard during the show, and the whole thing was good.
That's very cool.
And they did, it was kind of a step by step. The Apollo Theater was ground zero for Motown. Motown was out of Detroit. That's where Motown Records was based. But people went to the Apollo Theater in Harlem in New York to try to compete to be the next big thing.
Yeah.
And there was the whole Motown crowd that played there, and then they were followed by the Philly crowd, the Spinners, the OJs.
Oh, the OJs.
Then the Temptations, and they did some Al Green numbers. They did Stevie Wonder.
Oh, wow.
Marvin Gaye thing. They did a beautiful harmonic versions of the the two big Marvin Gaye tunes.
Oh, wow.
Mercy, Mercy Me and What's Going On. And it was a killer show. It was a really good show.
That is, it's a musical era that is just amazing. And it lasted a long time, as musical eras go. It had some longevity. And
from the 60s to the 70s.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the 70s, disco was coming in, and disco kind of killed Motown.
Yeah. Everybody was sick of all that heart and soul and wanted something superficial and throwaway.
And they got it.
And they got it. And then that gave us a lot of that same bad new wave in the 80s.
Well, and the neat thing was for an encore, they came out and did Bruno Mars.
Oh, really?
Uptown Funk.
Oh, wow.
So, that's something has survived.
Yeah. There are several, modern acts like Bruno Mars that kind of, I shouldn't say steal, but are obviously influenced directly by some of these big Motown bands. And, if you've ever been to the Detroit airport, they have a gigantic store at that airport that is literally just called Motown. And you can buy anything Motown themed. There were coffee mugs shaped like those microphones that were so iconic from the 70s live performances. It was just fascinating, but it's still celebrated. So very cool stuff. You can read Charlie's review of all this, by the way, at CashValleyDaily.com. And stick around. More of KVNU's For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill here in the studio right after this look at the news with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News is brought to you by Cardall's Insulation. A 49-year-old Logan man has been arrested for allegedly downloading hundreds of images of child pornography, according to law enforcement. Brady Lynn Thurston was booked into the Cache County Jail on Tuesday after officers served a warrant to his home. According to an arrest affidavit, Logan City police officers received a cyber tip in September from a cloud-based storage provider for Verizon Wireless. They reported a user had uploaded files to their servers containing depictions of minors engaging in sexually explicit conduct. The company provided officers with 79 files believed to be child sexual abuse material. Officers reviewed the material and found all but one was child pornography. Police were able to determine Thurston was the owner of the user account by tracking his phone number and IP address. Officers were able to secure a warrant to obtain the rest of the material allegedly saved to the account. They received multiple folders from the company with an additional several hundred images of child sexual abuse material. On October 29th, officers served a warrant to Thurston's home, where he was living with two other family members. They seized his cell phone and laptop computer for further inspection. Thurston reportedly refused to answer questions from police and requested an attorney. He was later booked into jail. A man was pronounced dead after being hit by a car in an Ogden car wash parking lot. Ogden police said the 63-year-old man was cleaning a parking lot of a nearby car wash at 7th and Washington Boulevard on Wednesday. A car hit the man, and he was later pronounced dead on the scene. The vehicle that hit the man fled before police got to the scene. The crash happened near a busy intersection with multiple businesses that could have surveillance video of the suspect and car. Police are working to track down any video. Catherine Kelso, a woman who said she is the victim's wife, said she last spoke to her husband at 12:30 Wednesday afternoon. Kelso added she doesn't know of any reason why someone would target her husband or want to hurt him, adding that he was nice to everyone. She said they've been together for 20 years and married for the last 8 years. Police said they will share with the public if and when they get a suspect and vehicle description. KVNU weather brought to you by Canyon Landscaping, creating livable landscapes for your new or existing yard. Give them a call at 752-3838. Our forecast tonight, mostly cloudy with rain likely this evening, then partly cloudy after midnight, going down into the mid-20s overnight. And then partly sunny on Friday, high temperature around 50. Cloudy Friday night, more rain developing by Saturday afternoon. Get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. Days from Election Eve, All Hallows Eve, presidential campaigning. Vice President Harris in Nevada and Arizona.
Phoenix, are we ready to do this? Are we ready to vote? Are we ready to win?
In Albuquerque, New Mexico, Donald Trump.
With your vote in this election, I will end inflation. I will stop the massive invasion of criminals into your state. And I will bring back the American dream.
Mr. Trump's former vice president, who helped intercede in the January 6th riot situation, Mike Pence, at a public policy event at Dartmouth College in New Hampshire.
I said on the floor of the Senate that day when we reconvened, I said the world is now going to witness the resilience of our institutions.
Pence says he's endorsing neither presidential ticket. This is ABC News.
Everyone has been asking me, hey, radio guy, what's the forecast for winter? Well, spoiler alert, it's going to be cold, but there is something you can do. Call Cardall's Insulation. With better insulation, you'll be amazed at how much warmer your home is. Get this, as much as 35% of your home's heat is lost through your walls and attic. And if your home was built before 1980, it's even worse. And right now there's a tax credit up to $1,200 for upgrading your insulation. Call Cardall's Insulation for all the details. 755-5012. That's 755-5012.
From ABC News, Wall Street Now, the NASDAQ led a sell-off spurred by strong earnings reports from Meta and Microsoft. Both companies have soared in recent years thanks to growth in artificial intelligence. But critics say the stock climbed too fast, making them too expensive. The Dow lost 378 points. The S&P dropped 108. The tech-heavy NASDAQ fell 513 points. The S&P and NASDAQ recording their worst day in over a month. Treasury yields moved lower on two economic reports. One says prices slowed to 2% in September, nearing the Fed's target. Another report shows growth in worker wages and benefits slowed during the summer. Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings sailed 7% higher on a stronger than expected profit report. According to the Pentagon audit, Boeing has overcharged the Air Force on spare parts for a major cargo plane, including the price of lavatory soap dispensers. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Cache Valley Daily has teamed up with Schreiber Foods to bring you a Halloween home tour. If you or your neighbors have filled your yard with creepy crawlies, glowing pumpkins, or things that go bump in the night, we want to know. Submit your home at CacheValleyDaily.com, and you could win up to $500 in cash and prizes. Cache Valley Daily is mapping out the best Halloween homes in Cache Valley, and we want yours. Schreiber Foods is giving away cash and prizes to the top 3 homes. But hurry, because haunting season is here.
Forever mine, all because you're my kind.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. I found some OJs in our music banks. Little tribute to the Motown show at the Eccles last Friday. I hope they keep doing stuff like that because there's, definitely an audience for that. And maybe,
well, we've had all of those tribute bands last year.
Yeah.
And
the Carpenters one's coming back to the Lionheart, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's people like that stuff. I'm very picky. One of the funniest that I saw tribute band wise. Now you can only see these guys at dive bars. They're not big. But when I was down on the final day of the legislative session a couple of years ago, there were a bunch of staffers in the Utah Senate that said we're going down to this this bar that's in walking distance from the Capitol. And I'm like, really? You know, Republican staffers going down to a bar? And they said, well, hold on. We'll tell you why. It was a band called Metalachi, and it was literally a mariachi band that covers only 80s hair band metal. And it was and they were good, but they did Queensryche, Motley Crue, Metallica, Quiet Riot. I mean, they did all of the hits, but it was a mariachi band, and it was one of the funniest things. But man, they're talented too. So I'm a supporter of the tribute bands, but man, if you see a bad one though, that's a memorable experience.
Well, you know, last year we had all these tribute bands coming to the Eccles.
Yeah.
I'm almost inclined to say I thought the Eagles band the tribute band was the worst one we saw.
A few people have told me that. I know people that really like the Carpenters one, and then what was the other? Oh, ABBA.
And Toast.
And Toast. That's right, the bread tribute band. That's but yeah, I've had a few people tell me that the Eagles tribute band they weren't impressed. They probably wouldn't see them again if they came back. And that's one, man. If you're gonna tribute the Eagles, you gotta do it. Well, that's a band with a cult following,
and they were okay. So, but you know, the Fleetwood Mac band was just wild.
That was a fun show.
Great show.
Yeah, and they tore as aggressively, I think, as the band did when they were in their heyday.
Maybe more.
Yeah, I've always wondered what kind of money is in that. I would assume as a tribute band.
Well,
because they have to pay some to the band, right?
You know, you saw all these groups that, you know, started as under one name and then drifted into something else.
Yeah.
Buffalo Springfield became the Eagles. You know, that sort of thing. And the reason that happened is because these were young kids who had a lot of talent and who got signed with managers who were just criminals. And they ended up with nothing. They didn't own their own name. They didn't own the rights to their music and all this other kind of stuff. So then they formed new groups. And touring was the only way they could make a dime.
Yeah. Because that was the only thing that the record companies
didn't have control.
Siphoning off. Yeah. That is, someone, I remember a documentary on the Grateful Dead that, known as one of the
major tours.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Yeah. They got to a point where they hadn't recorded new music in 20 years, but they toured.
They didn't need to.
Yeah, they didn't need to. And they'd tour every year and play these 4-hour concerts. And it became sort of like a festival type thing to have them come to your town. And I remember in a documentary, the guitarist, I can't remember his name now, said, we started doing this because we were broke. We were famous and broke. The record company executives were making a lot of money, but we were seeing very little. And we realized that we could just go do these tours and be quite wealthy.
Yep.
And and then that
if you didn't run up a big enough bill while you were touring, that for the damages and all that other kind of stuff.
I heard the Rolling Stones had a tour once where they barely broke even because their spending was so lavish,
and they destroyed hotel rooms,
or their party goers did, and it's you gotta, if you're gonna tour to make money, you've got to make sure you're not offsetting your. This is, I haven't checked this yet, but I always check during the show to see if Wendy has snuck anything new onto the Eccles calendar, and I haven't looked this week.
I don't think there's anything new there.
She hasn't, nothing new yet, but I want to hammer home on Come From Away again, though.
Yeah.
If folks, the tickets are a little pricey because this is a touring Broadway production. So it's a little more than you'd usually spend here in Cache Valley, from $55 up to $130 for tickets. But man, if you get a chance to see this, it is so good.
Two-night stand on November 6th and November 7th.
Yeah.
Plenty of opportunity to see it. Wendy designed that show to appear here the day after the election.
And it's perfect for
in
that.
order to give us a break from all the hate,
Yeah.
God knows we might have a civil war by that time. But
Oh, it
who
has
knows?
been such a nasty election. And
it's going to be nasty between Election Day and January 20th as well.
yeah, that's what I'm afraid of, is we're not actually going to get it's over break, but this is perfect for that. If you're feeling election anxiety in any way, or if you're just sick of the ads, all the PACs and candidates for the presidential campaign are running on TV. The theme of this, and it's again based on a true story. Where a few thousand people end up in this tiny little village stuck for weeks.
What happened
after 9/11?
What happened was after 9/11, we shut down the United States shut down its airspace.
Yeah,
because nobody knew how many other attackers there were.
Yeah,
and 38 jumbo jets set down on a airfield that had been created during World War II to keep the bomber flow going over to Europe.
Oh yeah.
So they all ended up sitting there. They had a total of 7,000 passengers in a town of 10,000.
Yeah.
And magically, it all worked out fine.
Yeah.
They took these people into their homes, made them feel welcome.
Yeah.
All kinds of good things happened.
And there's stories of some of these families and individuals have stayed in touch and friends since, for the 20 plus years since. And it's just it's a cool story, and it's a perfect story again for starting the day after the election, because it flies in the face of everything this election seems to have been about. November 6th and 7th, Wednesday and Thursday nights only. Touring Broadway show that Wendy Hassan and crew have been able to secure for Logan, Utah, of all places, at the Eccles Theater. And quite a few tickets still available, although that main floor, the $130 tickets, that's pretty picked over. But the upper level and the balcony, there's still quite a few left. And then after that, we didn't really talk about this much, but the Grand Kiev Ballet, the Snow Queen, is November 12th at the Eccles.
And then that's followed, after a couple weeks by the Civic Ballet Nutcracker.
Oh, yeah.
Right after Thanksgiving.
29th through the 3rd.
And then it's Katie Bar the Door.
Yeah.
Christmas shows coming out of your ears.
Yeah, it starts on December 5th with a Gentry Christmas, and then it just doesn't stop after that. It just keeps going and going and going.
Oh, and by the way, we've talked about the Lyric. They're doing Christmas in Montpelier, which is based on Russ.
I'm really intrigued by this. A history book. It's based on.
Well, yeah.
That normally doesn't sound like something that would translate well to to stage theater. But I'm looking forward to this one. Who's the guy again that's doing this?
Richie's going to. It's a one-man show.
Call. That's right.
Richie's going to do that. Richie Call will do the honors, and NPR is hosting a premiere, a dress rehearsal, a catered event, like about on the 19th or something like that.
Yeah.
By invitation only, should be lots of fun.
That's going to be, it's just such a unique thing to have a history book become a dramatic stage production. Really looking forward to that one. No offense meant to the other holiday programming, but like Charlie said, there is a lot. Just scrolling through even, just the casharts.org page. starting December 5th with Gentry Christmas. It's just one after another, the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, 13th through the 14th. Yeah, and then you get a little break, and then they're back at the Eccles with
Pickleville.
Yeah, Pickleville. And then you get a little break in January, and mid-January you get Toast, the bread tribute band, kicking off the 25 season there at Eccles. So, all right. For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill here in the studio continues after this.
Weather changes are tough on your transmission. As we move to colder winter weather, AMCO Transmission invites you to bring your vehicle in for preventative maintenance before the snow flies. Have a diesel pickup, Cummins, Duramax, or Power Stroke? AMCO in Logan is your transmission specialist, and they promise to get you in quickly. For over 50 years, AMCO Total Car Care has been experts in repair for transmission, brakes, tune-ups, and more. Find your local AMCO. 75 East, 2000 North, 752-1940.
Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor. Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Visit managerbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
The Above and Beyond Salute.
This is Joshua. Yeah, Joshua McCulloch. My name is Will Theoright. Somebody told us how you're a nurse who have dedicated a lot of your career to working with people with special needs. Is that right?
That is correct.
Yeah, what made you want to get into nursing?
I actually feel like you're making a difference in people's lives.
We thought you could use free lunch to Firehouse Subs as a way of telling you thanks.
Well, I appreciate that very much. That was very nice of someone to say that about me, too.
The Above and Beyond Salute on News Talk KVNU.
Motels.
A little few motels throwback. I don't know why this popped into my head. I think maybe because we were talking about Motown. I'm just thinking, let's play some motels.
This is an all-girl band that has nothing to do with Motown.
That's right, zero Motown at all in the motels, but
nice tune though.
Yeah, I enjoy that one. This is we've talked about it before, but I just want to point everybody again to the Lionheart Theater's calendar as well. We talk about the Eccles a lot, deservedly, but man, Charlie, they're knocking it out of the park at the Lionheart Theater with these light switch things, the comedy nights, the Carpenters Tribute Band coming back in December. I mean, they went from brand new. I thought it'd take them a couple of years, but they went from brand new to, okay, we're already experimenting, and I like it.
They're hungry.
Yeah, it's nice to see, but. And they're, I assume, working pretty hard on this to secure some of these. But
and again, it's like I always say, I'd like to take everybody who says, there's nothing to do here, and box their ears.
Yeah. Nothing could be further from the truth.
Yeah. There is, I've looked at other communities and, granted, Salt Lake has got a lot of little theaters scattered around.
Sure.
And they have a lot of things, but there is no place that has that's a little town like Logan.
Yeah.
And even with the Valley's population, we get way more than we deserve to have in terms of entertainment here.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons that you can have a touring Broadway show come to town and still get tickets a week before the show, because we are a smaller community, and so but that usually means you can't get these things in, but we do, and that's because they will almost always nearly sell out. It's a perfect balance, because I know, I have friends who live in Salt Lake, and even though, like you said, there is more there, a lot of weekends going on at all these little theaters, it's hard to get into stuff because there's so many people that live there. So, yeah, we're lucky in a few different ways here, and I really hope everybody takes advantage of that. But like you said, Charlie, if someone says there's nothing to do, you're just not paying attention. Although I do wish there was a. I know, Julie Hollis Terrell tries to do a good job of this at Explore Logan, the Cash Visitors Bureau's website. But I do wish there was a dedicated calendar that someone kept updated on just arts and entertainment, separating that stuff out, because I do miss things occasionally.
The problem with that is it's so hot and heavy.
Yeah.
If I've given you calendars of upcoming events. 2 weeks later, they're completely obsolete.
Yeah, 4 pages of events, and then you're having to add stuff and move stuff, and yeah. It would definitely be work for someone to keep up on that.
It would be a full-time job. There's no question about it.
There's plenty going on, especially when, as we've talked here this hour, you have to start including, Garden City, of course, maybe things that are going on in Idaho Falls, because we have some of these theater companies, we have an attachment to there. And
Jason, I don't even touch the high school theaters.
Yeah.
And some of them are great.
We do have one of those coming up, or 2 of those coming up, I think. But yeah, and distance-wise, I was thinking about this once. We could actually branch out and do, the Ogden area, because there's a lot that goes on there as well, but we wouldn't be able to. We don't have time to include things that are going on in Ogden.
We don't broadcast down there either.
Yeah, that's most of our content is not Ogden specific, to say the least. Yeah. But it's fun to have so much to talk about. And Charlie, it's always fun to have you come in. This is a breath of fresh air for me each week, especially as the presidential campaign, luckily, is winding down, but has been going on. And
I hope it winds down.
Yeah. Please.
I'm afraid it's not going to.
Please let it wind down. And then don't campaign for a year. We'll tell both parties. Take a break. All right. That is the For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill. You can read his work between now and then at cashvalleydaily.com. And we'll be back with Hour 2 of today's